Pick up your gear and open your chests. Throw on your armor and head out on a quest. Hey, hey, it's a brand new day. On the Sword Coast, your allies will help with blades and bows and magic as well. Hey, hey, heroes on their way. Fighting forever against overwhelming odds. Fighting together in favor of multiple gods. Idle champions of the forgotten realms. Idle champions, adventure never ends. Idle champions, did you want them? Idle champions, you will say it again. Idle champions. From Waterdeep to Icewind, head out to Chull or Shadowfell, hey, hey. Together we stay. Walk to the monsters, walk to the boss, walk to the right, it's never a loss, hey, hey. Bad guys to slay. Fighting forever against overwhelming odds. Fighting together in favor of multiple gods. Idle champions of the forgotten realms. Idle champions, adventure never ends. Idle champions, did you want them? Idle champions, you will say it again. Idle champions.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Gaarawarr's Guide, the tutorial show. Yeah. Saturday morning, folks. Time to wake up! Time to wake up. With me today in the mod pod is Jordan. Jordan will be grabbing questions from chat. Please make sure you put question : before the questions in chat so that you know, they know that you're asking them of me and not of other people in the chat. That tends to be what gets grabbed, is if it's question : why? Why are my eyes watering? I don't understand. Today, our topic for discourse is the Black Dice Society. They are now fully in the game. We will be talking about all of the members of the Black Dice Society in an hour-ish. It's going to take a little more than an hour. It's seven champions. Oh, I'm going to sneeze. Whew. Okay. So we're going to talk about the Black Dice Society characters. I'm going to talk for about an hour-ish. That's kind of the way the tutorial show works, is I talk for an hour, and then I answer questions. For the second hour. Again, this may take a little longer than an hour. There's 7 champions to discuss. We want to make sure we do them each justice. So the questions, Q&A portion may be a little shorter today, but that doesn't mean you can't throw your questions in. Please throw them in while I'm doing the tutorial part, because then during the break I review how many questions. I kind of decide how, you know, hey, how quickly do I need to go through these? Can they be longer form discussions? You know, so it keeps me from doing lightning. If you throw them in during the first hour, it keeps me from doing lightning mode in the last 15 minutes. As entertaining as that might be for you all. Not always great for my voice. So we're going to dive right in. So I have started with there's only, you're like, Gaarawarr, why are only 2 of the Black Dice Society in your formation? Usually have them all there. Well, I'm doing a Strahd, Patron Strahd variant. called More Than Well Equipped. This is not something I would normally do during a tutorial show, but it makes sense because of, you know, some Black Dice Society stuff. Some Black Dice Society stuff. In fact, we've got 2 escorts going. Like, why, Gaarawarr? Why are there 2 escorts? We're going to get to all that. It'll make sense, I promise. I promise. So to make sense of all of this, we're going to start off with Nahara. Nahara's in slot 3. Nahara, a reborn Aasimar Warlock Bard. Chaotic neutral. DPS and speed rolls currently. Again, everyone we're talking about today is going to be a member of the Black Dice Society. You can see them all there, right there. Brother Uriah, Desmond, Finn, Nahara, Tatyana, Valentine, Voronika. Nahara's basic attack is called Witch Bolt. And she has a really unique basic attack. It is a magical attack, but she attacks a random enemy. Which isn't, you know, unusual. But then every enemy that she's already hit with a bolt of energy. So, yes, which bolt? That bolt. So let's say you have enemies streaming out onto your screen, and you can't kill them with one hit. Well, she attacks one. Then she attacks another one, and the one she had just attacked. And then she attacks another one, and the 2 she had just attacked previously. And this will go on until things start dying. And things start... Now, she might attack one she's attacked before, because it is random. But she will always attack a random enemy plus anything she's already attacked before, as long as it hasn't died. As long as it hasn't died. Hasn't died. Cool. So it's unique. We don't see that type of mechanic really anywhere else. We see multi-hits, we see AoEs, but something that's always going to keep attacking. You don't really notice it so much when you're pushing early on, but when you start getting towards your wall and lots of enemies are building up, it becomes a thing where she's just unleashing lots of attacks just across everything on the field. It gets pretty wild. Okay, she has a level 0 ability. This is a thing with some champions. What that means is it affects what's going on even before you bring her into the formation by leveling her up to level 1. So her level 0 is Beloved by Strahd. Nahara is eligible to start in all Strahd patron adventures, even if variant restrictions would stay otherwise. So this means, this is why we're in a patron Strahd adventure, one of the reasons. No matter what the restriction says, she can go in all patron Strahd things. All of them. Now, this just gets you into an adventure, or a variant. If the variant has things that are going on inside of it that could then remove you, she's fair game to be booted. It just means that, you can't keep her out of any variants that are Strahd variants. It's pretty cool. It's the first part of the reason why we're in a Strahd variant today. We'll get to the second part here in a moment. Who am I? Nahara recovers a bit of her lost memory as she adventures. If Nahara is in the formation when you complete an area for the first time, which means you want her in from the beginning, she gets a small percentage damage bonus, stacking additively. These bonuses persist through resets. That means this is a permanent stacking feature. The more you do adventures with her, the more powerful she gets. Now, if we go over here, I won't say that I've done a lot of adventures with her, but I've done a few. I'm in the EO6 range. And, currently that looks like it's about an EO6 buff. Shocker. So the more you complete with Nahara, the more she provides to your formation. There is no... It doesn't state there's a cap here, so... But it is very difficult to get super large bonuses without lots of... She is a speed champion, but without lots and lots of grinding. To amuse or avenge, when Nahara attacks and defeats at least one enemy, she gains a levity stack with a maximum of 30 stacks. When she attacks and doesn't defeat an enemy, she loses a levity stack. So this is, it's either going to go up or it's going to go down. Nahara gets a percent damage bonus. It's going to vary. For each levity stack she has below 30. Below 30. So that means when she attacks and doesn't defeat an enemy, she buffs herself. So that hopefully with the next attack will kill an enemy. At the start of each area, she reduces the area requirements by 2% for each levity stack above 15. This is her speed effect. So this is a kind of a two-part ability. If she's not killing things, she's buffing herself. If she's killing lots of things, she's speeding up your party by reducing the number of things you need to do on each area. So it's 2% for each levity stack above 15. That means we can get to 30. So you can roughly reduce things by 30% as long as you're killing things quickly. This is a similar effect to Sentry, except Sentry's trigger is just not taking damage in an area. And Sentry, you have an item that you have to buff up to get to a certain percent. You can use both of these champions together. You can use Nahara and Sentry together in a speed formation. They will both work. One will reduce by the percent, the other will reduce by a percent. You get real low numbers. Makes it real easy to move from level to level. But yeah, that's her speed effect. But it is as you get, but she is still useful, because she buffs herself on the opposite end of that speed effect. Just know that as you get to closer to your wall and you stop killing things, you lose her speed effect. Strong Society is the next ability. Nahara gets a 400% damage bonus for each other Black Dice Society affiliation member in the formation, stacking multiplicatively. That's the good way. That's the good way, folks. So she's at her best when she is in a full Black Dice Society formation, which is what we're going to build out today. Up next, we're going to talk about her specialization. This is one of her specializations is the other reason we're doing a Strahd Patron thing, and it's kind of a big deal. So we have a Grave Experience, a Barovian Bond, and a Skilled Liar. I see what they did there. Grave Experience. The Who Am I counter increments 3 times for every area cleared. This is, if you're trying to stack up that area completion, that permanent damage bonus, that's a small percent permanent damage bonus, you run a Grave Experience. I don't know that I have all of my grinding formations set to that for her, and now I realize I need to change that. Because that's going to get you that damage. That's going to get you that permanent damage bonus, right? So when you're just running, like say you're just using her to grind gems, you'd want to run a Grave Experience. Potentially. Well, potentially. We'll see. She has competing specializations. If you're using her with Sentry, I would run a Grave Experience. Let's just say that. We're going to go all the way to the right-hand side and talk about this competing ability. Skilled Liar. The area reduction into Amuse or Avenge is increased by 50%. If she's your only speed champion, Skilled Liar, right? You're going to get a bigger area reduction bonus. But here's the thing. If you're using a Sentry, you're probably not going to need it. So you run a Grave Experience, so you're getting her damage boosty things while moving forward quickly. It's up to you. You decide what you want. But just know that these are competing specializations. Both usually something you'd want when you're doing speed runs, as opposed to pushing deep. The left one could also be used as her pushing specialization, like as her DPS specialization, if you're not running other Black Dice Society members at all. But here's the thing. If you're going to run Black Dice Society members, especially if you're doing Strahd variants, you want the middle one, a Barovian Bond. Strong Society gets a 400% increase, right? And Black, that's nice on its own. And Black Dice Society members can be used if Strahd is currently the patron, even if they do not qualify for the other variant requirements. Nahara literally, with a Barovian Bond, literally brings any and all Black Dice Society members you own into the formation, even if they don't qualify. She not only does she qualify for all patron Strahd stuff, with this specialization, she makes all Black Dice Society qualify for all patron Strahd stuff. When you have a full Black Dice Society team, that means you can run a consistent group through all Strahd variants. That's strong. It's a strong specialization, and it's a strong feature if you have them all. But even if you're just running one or two members, a Barovian Bond, outside of a patron Strahd thing, a Barovian Bond is going to be your normal damage pushing specialization. Just for the 400% bonus is just way bigger than the Grave Experience, right? So just know this is what we're doing. So as we can see, before I pick this, as you can see, I'm just going to tell you, hey, Voronika right over here, Desmond, Valentine, Tatyana, Brother Uriah, none of them qualify for this variant. None of them. Only Finn and Nahara qualify. But once I choose this, boom, now they all qualify. Now they can all join the formation. Every last one of them. I just realized we're going to have to change this around a bit. I don't know that this is the ideal situation. I don't know. We'll say something like this. It's going to go a little something like this. Hit it. Okay. So, know that her specializations choice potentially real strong. Okay. Oh, yeah. And Form of Dread is her ultimate. We're going to talk about that. Yeah, that's everything. Okay, just wanted to make sure. Nahara takes off into the air and channels the power of her patron, Azalin Rax, for 15 seconds. Her damage is increased by 1,000% while in this form, and any enemy she hits has a 50% chance of being stunned for 2 seconds. So this is the I want to do more damage button, specifically just for Nahara. The crowd control effect is a nice bonus. So here's what it looks like. Boom. Huge flaming wings. Her eyes get all glowy, and she's just, she does a lot more damage. Huge witch bolts. Yep. Nice stuff. So item-wise, she gets a pair of damage, self-damage items, because remember, she is a DPS. Effectively, just, pure DPS in the sense that she's not supporting other people. The only kind of support ability is speed, but that doesn't boost damage. We get an item for Who Am I? So this is going to boost the damage bonus. As you can see now that I've fully leveled up, that damage bonus is at like 120 something % per level, which means Who Am I is an EO8 buff. So this item helps that a lot. Amuser Revenge. This is the damage portion of Amuser Revenge. It's going to boost that. That's the item you get. And then she has an item that's going to increase the damage of her attacks in her Form of Dread. This is kind of similar to an ultimate attack damage item because her ultimate basically just boosts her damage. And that's what this does. This boosts the damage while she's doing that. And then she has a cooldown reduction for that, for her ultimate. Feat-wise, obviously as a DPS, she's going to have self-damage feats. She has things that are going to boost Who Am I? So when you get that up to, some real large numbers, that's nice. She does the damage portion of Amuser Revenge. And then we have 2 stat feats. We get a Strength +1. This is going to qualify her for Zariel, Patron Zariel variants. And then she has a Constitution +2. This is going to qualify her for Patron Vajra stuff. Patron Vajra. She cannot qualify for Mert. She is a neutral champion. But she can do the other three. And we have a new thing down here that they haven't told us what this is for. She has a total ability score of 76. I don't know. One day we'll find out why they added that to the game. But it wasn't the day they added it. Oh, boy. Let me just level some people up here and get them ready to talk about. We're going to hop back to the start of our bench slots. And I'm going to turn auto progress back on. All right, let's talk about Voronika. Voronika, a Ladrin Druid, chaotic evil, pure support. Level 0 ability we'll talk about first. Wed, then undead. After being killed on her wedding night, Voronika became a ghost. Voronika continues to attack and can be attacked like normal. So Voronika counts as dead. For the purposes of anything that wants to count dead things. We'll leave that vague for now. We'll get there. So Voronika, despite clearly, being alive in the sense that they are attacking in the formation, counts as dead. Basic attack, produce flame. Voronika creates a flame in her hand, which she fires at a random enemy. Note the cooldown. Voronika not attacking very often. Not really attacking very often. But, but throw something out every now and then. Calculating guidance, Voronika increases the damage of all champions in the column in front of her by 100% for each champion in the formation that is either a member of the Black Dice Society or evil. So use Voronika either with other Black Dice Society champions or evil champions or some combination of both. That's going to give you the biggest buffs. This stacks additively until Voronika completes her search for the crown. Doesn't tell us what that is. When it changes to stack multiplicatively. So, obviously, this tells you search for the crown's a big deal. Doesn't tell you what search for the crown is, but it tells you it's a big deal because it makes this buff multiplicatively. And as we know, that's the good way. Hey, there's search for the crown. Voronika's search for the crown of Raven Queen requires her to complete 3 goals. Doesn't tell us what those are. When Voronika completes all 3 goals, she acquires the crown, transforms into her Dark Lord form, unlocks her ultimate attack, and improves her base attack. So basically, this is not Voronika's final form. You have to search for the crown to get that. Now, it doesn't tell us what those 3 things are here. I hear it already in my head. Gaarawarr, where does it tell us that? Thank you for asking. Over here on formation buffs, you can get the 3 tasks. They're always the same. It's always the same 3 tasks. It's defeat 2,000 enemies with her inner circle champion in the formation. We'll get to that. Have her reach level 750. So in other words, upgrade her to 750. And use 50 ultimate attacks with other champions. Okay. So that means we're going to want to, it doesn't matter about hers, just other champions. So I'll go ahead and throw a familiar on another champion. So you need to complete that in a run. I'm going to tell you right now, this does not work in like the background very well, like because it's automate, like with a pre-made formation. Her inner circle champion is randomly chosen. We're going to look at that in a moment. So this isn't something that you can just automate and have work every time. Voronika is a very at least up to the point where you unlock the crown and decide on her inner circle champion, very kind of manual play champion. So Here's where you find out who's going to be in her inner circle. When you get to her specialization, she gets to choose between one of 3 champions randomly. Randomly. Unfortunately, none of the champions here are any of the ones in our formation today. Womp, womp, womp. Let's do these. Yeah, we could put one in for a while. We're gonna need to. Let us put in. Well, we'll remove Brother Uriah for a moment, and we will choose Neris as our inner circle champion. Now, what happens is the inner circle, effectively the inner circle champion gets some bonuses. For being selected. They gain the Black Dice Society affiliation membership if they don't have it. So they're going to, it's not over here. It's not going to show over here, but they're going to count as a member of the Black Dice Society for the purposes, of any buffs, like her buff up here, which, counts the members of Black Dice Society. Right? Whoever her inner circle is basically is going to get counted in that calculation. Ultimate power. Voronika increases the effect of calculating guidance by 1% for each use of an ultimate while she is in the formation, stacking additively. I know then it says and applied multiplicatively, but they're always applied multiplicatively. It's the stacking part that matters. It caps at a very large amount. It's like 1,000,000 stacks. Those stacks persist until you reset. So this is not a permanent stacking ability. This is just a stacking and run ability. That means you want to be firing off ultimates basically all the time when Voronika is in your formation, because you're going to get bonuses to her boosts. Don't ever think that you need to cap this. They put it at 1,000,000 just because they knew that they had to cap it. They're getting a little smarter, a little better at some of these things that could run rampant. They knew they had to cap it. So they just put it at a really what they felt was a ridiculously large number. But that way it still has a cap. You don't need to try to get it to 1,000,000, folks. It's going to be whatever it is by the end of your run. But it does mean you are going to want to potentially park familiars on ultimates. And remember, it doesn't count her ultimate. Well, this one does. Her Search for the Crown doesn't. So yeah, just you're going to want things on ultimates. Some ultimates aren't necessarily going to count, like the toggles. That ain't it. So, you know, regular ultimates. All right. Next specialization, she has the second set. Assist the puppet or dispose of the fool. So, Voronika's inner circle champion gets increases depending on the champion's roles. Champions with multiple roles get all the benefits. This is for assist the puppet. So, in an ideal world, your DPS has multiple roles, and they're who the inner circle champion is. Right? That's like an ideal situation. The second best is just the inner circle champion is somebody you planned on using in your formation. And in those cases, you choose assist the puppet. Dispose of the fool. This is when they're not going to be in the formation after she becomes a Dark Lord. So after Voronika has achieved her Dark Lord form, she increases the effect of calculating guidance by 100% while her inner circle champion is not part of the formation. Neris is our inner circle champion. We're going to dispose of the fool when we're done, because we want a full Black Dice Society formation. We don't want Neris in here. So that's kind of how you choose that second set of specializations. Is that champion staying in, or are they being removed? Now, I can't show you her ultimate because we're a ways away. I've upgraded her enough. We need to defeat a lot of enemies, and we have to use lots of ultimates to get there. So we're going to come back to Voronika in a bit when she changes her form. Let's talk about her items. She is a pure support, so she gets damage all champions items, a pair of them. Buffs calculating guidance and ultimate power. Those are the things you want. Ultimate attack damage and her ultimate cooldown reduction. Obviously, these don't kick in until later, but these are good things to have. Feat-wise, damage all champions' feats. She has an interesting ability modifier feat. Extended support. This changes calculating guidance to target the next 2 columns. Now remember, calculating guidance is the damage of all champions in the column in front of her. So when you add this feat, it makes it in the 2 columns in front of her. In the 2 columns in front of her. So this is a formation-based feat. You would select this if you need to put her somewhere where, you know, she wouldn't normally sit. Right? Because ideally you would want her right behind the DPS. But you may be in a formation that can't do that. Like the formation I have right now, can't put her anywhere useful, but it is what it is. This is just for demonstration purposes. So, there's a pair of calculating guidance feats. There's an ultimate power feat. There is an intelligence feat. This qualifies Voronika for Strahd on her own. So there may be times when you want to use Voronika in a Strahd adventure, but maybe not Nahara. This is going to get Voronika into Patron Strahd. I do want to also point out one of the highest stat scores in the game, Wisdom 23. She's pretty stacked on multiple stat scores, but Wisdom 23 is kind of a big deal. Yeah. All right. Desmond. Desmond is a male human ranger. Chaotic good. A pure support. Despite holding 2 swords in his idle animation, Desmond attacks with a crossbow. Just because. Desmond shoots the closest enemy with his hand a crossbow, knocking them back a bit. That's the basic attack. Noble Hearts is the first ability. This increases damage of champions adjacent to Desmond by an amount. That's your formation placement cue. That's why I have it. That's why I have it back here. That's why I have them back here. Howl at the Moon. One thing they don't talk about with Desmond, they're human. They might have a little more going on. Desmond synergizes with the moon. Phases. Desmond synergizes with the moon phases. It's Saturday morning, folks. Reducing the attack cooldown of himself and adjacent champions. So Howl at the Moon helps you attack faster. The closer to the full moon, the more the cooldown is reduced. At the start of each full moon, Desmond's ultimate cooldown fully resets. So there is a trigger. As you can see over here on the left, Desmond has a moon phase indicator. Over himself in the formation. Pretty straightforward. Devotion in dark times. The dark side of the moon increases the effective noble heart, depending on how close the new moon is. No, they're not talking about music. They're talking about, the fact that it's the dark side of the moon here on the moon phase. Yeah. There's a lot of buffs going on here about the moon phases. Just know that what you need to know is that bonuses are going to ebb and flow, like the tides. Because guess what controls the tides, folks? It's the moon. It's going to kind of go up and down. So it's not going to always be the same thing. So you need to understand that you need to let Desmond go through phases or modify the phases so that you're getting the things that they need, and that your formation needs. Speaking of modifying the phases, specialization time. So we can double time it, we can embrace the beast, or we can strengthen numbers. So double time. The moon cycle of Howl at the Moon is twice as fast, recharging Desmond's ultimate attack more often. Remember, every time the phase comes around, he gets his ultimate back. So if you really want him in ultimate mode as much as possible, if that's your goal, you double time it. Embrace the Beast. This additively increases the base attack cooldown reduction that Desmond's Howl at the Moon provides by 0.5 seconds. In addition, the full moon of Howl at the Moon takes 30 seconds, while the new moon and crescent moons only take 10 seconds. So you stay in the full moon longer, And thus you keep like maximum attack speed in this phase and Embrace the Beast. So if you just want to attack super fast, comparatively speaking, Embrace the Beast. Strength in numbers. Devotion in Dark Times gets a 100% additive buff. In addition, the new moon of Howl at the Moon takes 30 seconds, while the full moon and gibbous moons only take 10. So again, longer damage bonus. Longer damage bonus. This is Devotion in Dark Times is the buff. So if you want damage boosts and you want them to stick around longer, strength in numbers. That's where I'm going, folks. Just you do you. I like the damages. I like the damages. All the way up. All right. Okay. Unleash the Beast is ultimate. We'll deal with that in a second. Running with the Pack. This increases the effect of Noble Heart on lycanthropes, druids, and Black Dice Society champions. Gee, I wonder why it mentions lycanthropes. So if you're gonna boost the damage on any of those types of folks, if that's who you're supporting, running with the Pack's a good option. This means that basically that's a lot of times that's who you want to run Desmond with. There's another ability we're going to talk about literally next. That's the other big reason you want to use Desmond to support like anyone. But Desmond's best supporting lycanthropes, druids, and Black Dice Society champions. Now, despite... This gets me every time. I'm a stickler for word usage, folks. Lycanthrope, technically werewolf. That's the lichen part. But in this game, this is a video game. They're using this as a video game term. It's anyone who has any kind of were ability. So this means that Desmond can support a Zaka, who is a were tiger. So if you're wondering who the lycanthrope in the game is that Desmond would support, a Zaka DPS, which is not bad, frankly. All right. And finally, last but definitely not least, Lament the Lost. This is arguably Desmond's shining star ability. Desmond increases the damage of all champions by 1%, stacking multiplicatively. Look at that percent number, and it's going to stack multiplicatively. It's the percent is wrong. It stacks post, but it's a post buffs thing. Anyway, for each slot in the formation that contains a dead champion, ding 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 ding, or is taken up by an escort character or object, ding 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 ding. We have 2 escorts and at least 1 dead champion you're aware of so far, right? Desmond is going to boost things based off the number of those and do so in a multiplicative fashion. Desmond is fantastic for anything where they're like, you lose X slots to escorts. Oh, wow. Like, there are some escort missions where you, here, Arya Chicken, you lose 4 slots to escorts. You might want to throw Desmond in. You might want to throw Desmond in to buff whoever your DPS is, because believe me, it doesn't matter if they're a lycanthrope, a druid, or a member of the Black Dice Society. At that point, they're going to be getting 4 multiplicative buffs minimum. That's before you add any dead people to the formation. Desmond's amazing. There's a new variant that has a giant goat. The greatest goat of all time, the goat, the goat squared, takes up 4 slots in the formation. At least 3 or 4. It's just ridiculous. Desmond, just ridiculous in these scenarios. Let's go take a look at the math. Lament of the Lost, currently at 3. I'm at an E16 buff. E16. What? That's a big buff, folks. And as we all know, I like big buffs, and I cannot lie. Desmond with escorts or dead folks provides some huge bonuses. We may play around with this a little later if we have time. Unleash the beast. I wonder what beast we're talking about, Desmond. Desmond transforms into his werewolf form. There it is. And leaps at the enemy with the most hit points. So whoever the healthiest enemy is, he swipes with both claws, then bites them, because why not? Then returns to the formation and goes back to human form. Noble Heart gets a 300% increase for 30 seconds. This is just like, hey, it's a damage boost. 30-second damage boost every time it's active. And if you trigger it right before he goes into the reset phase, you get it right back. It's better if you trigger. I mean, and you could, I think it's a good way to keep it up as much as possible. But you can just go with it. Here we go. Look at him, big werewolf boy. Yeah, and now he's back as normal in the formation. But look, now it's resetting in 1 second, and now he goes again because the moon phase changed. Oh God, it's so good. Yeah, so that's how it works, folks. That's how it works. It's pretty nice. So remember, we already know that at least one champion in here counts as dead. Again, Wed Then Undead, Voronika was the third number in Desmond's things. We're getting 2 because there's 2 escorts, and then Voronika is the third. So anyone that counts as dead is going to buff Desmond's Lament the Lost. Item-wise, we get a pair of Damage All Champions items. We get Noble Heart buff. We get a Running with the Pack buff. We get a Lament the Lost buff, because it wasn't strong enough, apparently. And then there's ultimate attack damage, because they're not going to give you a cooldown one, because it's affected by the phases of the moon. Feat-wise, Damage All Champions. And then we start getting crunchy with it. The Beast Within. This increases the base attack cooldown reduction Howl of the Moon provides by another 0.2 seconds. So in case you just want like as much attack cooldown reduction as possible, there you go. Devotion to Dark Times, Noble Heart, Running with the Pack. Here's Lament the Lost. I'm running a double Lament the Lost because, yeah, when I bring Desmond in, it's because I'm doing escorts or dead people. So I'm just buffing that big chunky buff he's got. That's just the way it works for me. And lots of other options. He's got some nice stuff. There's a lot of 80%ers, so if I had these, I'd probably swap it out with this one, right? All right. Oh God, this is gonna take so long. All right, I'm like, we're only 3 champions in. Oh no, the Black Dice Society is really crunchy, folks. They got a lot going on. All right, here we go. Valentine, a reborn half-elf sorcerer, who swaps in with the support and gold rolls. Base attack is Mind Sliver. Valentine attacks a random enemy with a mental magic attack, which deals damage and has a chance to stun. So potential crowd control, but not something you should rely on. Gosh, I can't remember how people want this, how this is pronounced. Tregram, I'm gonna say. We're gonna go with that. The Aberrant Spirit in Valentine's Brain. Yeah. That's a thing. Telepathically reaches out to the other champions. Oh, God. For each positional formation ability affecting Valentine, here we go with the PFAs again. She increases the damage of all champions with the DPS roll by 100%, stacking multiplicatively. She wants as many positional formation abilities as possible hitting her. Then she's going to buff the DPS multiplicatively by that. She gets this cool indicator you may have seen before. She was the first to get it, with the arrows pointing in, and it'll tell you how many she's receiving. Right now it's 1. But you tend to move her around. There's a couple in that position. Oh no, we're on a boss. Hold on, it's attacking everybody. So finding a place where she's getting the most tends to be a good idea when dealing with Valentine. So she is building of the proper formation with her. This formation is going to be weird. We just have to kind of accept that because it's just a demonstration. This is not an optimal formation. You kind of want her getting the biggest number. And there's reasons for this that we're going to get to in a moment. Hey, we're there. Socialite. Valentine duplicates any positional formation abilities that are affecting her to champions in the formation with the DPS role. So you target her with all the positional formation abilities. Not only does she buff based on the number she's receiving, she also gives them all as a gift to anyone with the DPS role. Happy Valentine's Day, folks. If the receiving champion already has that ability, the ability is instead boosted by 1%. And then they note this happens after Artemis's observation ability, because everybody was really curious, like, is this just going to blow Artemis out of the water? Like, Artemis, Archon, War Duke now. Not the huge thing that you're going to think with Artemis, so just keep that in mind. But yeah, there are major bonuses. So you really want to try, in the perfect world, you're hitting your DPS and Valentine with every positional formation ability buff you can. That's, yeah, it's a thing. Okay. Life of Leisure. Valentine increases the formation's gold find by 100% for each positional formation ability affecting her, stacking multiplicatively. This is the same boost as before, except it's for gold find instead of damage. The higher the number, the more gold you're getting in your formation. It's good in Azaka farming. Absolutely. 3 specializations. All Hail the Godbrain, My Loyal Bodyguard, or Family Business. Family Business. All Hail the Godbrain increases the pre-stack damage. Let me just read it right. Tragram's pre-stack damage increase is increased by 25%. I didn't want 3 increases in the same sentence. This is really a numbers game, kind of based on are you using a Tatyana or not. Because My Loyal Bodyguard, if Valentine is affected by Tatyana's Faithful Friend ability, its effect is increased by 200%. If you're running Tatyana, you tend to use like My Loyal Bodyguard straight up for the bonus, and make sure that Valentine is receiving it and passing it on to the DPS. But if you can get like, man, I think it's like 8 to 10 positional formation abilities on Valentine, even if you're using Tatyana, then I believe that's when All Hail the Godbrain becomes the better option. It's somewhere up there. It's a large number. Now, if you're not using Tatyana at all, you may as well hail the Godbrain. But if you're Azaka farming, Family Business, A Life of Leisure's total gold find is increased by 200%. 10%. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and do My Loyal Bodyguard because I know we're not getting a lot of stuff here. Now, here's the thing. So this, well, we'll get to Tatyana's blue thing in a bit. Just know that faithful thing she needs to be, Valentine needs to be blue. This blue thing that Nahara has beneath her, you want that on Valentine if you choose that metal specialization. If you don't get that on Valentine, you've wasted your specialization. But just know you would want her here, so that, and she then turns everyone that has a DPS role blue. Everyone that has a DPS role blue, so I'm going to leave her back there. For now, for multiple reasons. Okay, that's all ultimate. That's all, like that wasn't enough. Ultimate, Arms of Hadar. If you've played with Warden, you know what this is kind of going to look like. Well, it's ugly. It's not the same thing. Inky black tentacles erupt from Valentine's mouth. And hands targeting the closest enemy. It was enough with the mouth. And those around it dealing damage and stunning them for 4 to 8 seconds. While stunned, they take additional 1,000% damage for all sources. So this is the I want to do more damage button. Boom, there it went. I just, Warden and Valentine with all their Hadar stuff, they probably get along real well. Two different things, but it's all Hadar down here. Okay, yeah, that was everything. Item-wise, we get damage all champions. You can buff the Tregram ability. You can buff Socialite. You can buff Life of Leisure. This is the gold find. We get ultimate attack damage. We get ultimate cooldown reduction. You get damage all champions bonuses. You get gold find bonuses with the feats. We can buff Tregram again. Socialite. Life of Leisure. It's like they're doing all of it. Because why not? But there are 2 stat feats. So it's just Hadarifying. Yes, it is. Strength, +1. This is going to qualify you for Zerial. Intelligence +1, going to qualify you for Strahd in the cases where you want to use Valentine, but not Nahara. Once again. On to Fen. Fen is a Dampier Drow. Warlock Rogue. Chaotic Evil. DPS support. Everything comes in pairs. Dampier is like Vampire, only wetter. Basic attack, Pack Blade. Fen darts out to the closest enemy and slashes with her longsword, hitting all nearby enemies. So this is an AoE. It's an AoE off of the closest enemy. Mischievous but dangerous. The first ability, Fen increases the damage of all champions in her column by a large amount. So that's the positional formation thing. She's like Brunor. Brunor buffs in his column, so does Fen. Keep it simple. Patron's Oath. If you have not noticed, there are many champions in the Black Dice Society who have like one ability where you're like, yes. And you really know where they're going to get a lot of use. Right? Patron's Oath. While Fen is in the formation and you are in a patron variant or free play, patron challenge progress made by her party is increased by 1%. It starts off at 100%, and there's a boost. I've got a thing called a feat over here that boosts it again for 4 times the progress. So normally Patron's Oath is double progress for patron challenges. With the feat, quadruple progress. Fen, basically, if you're manually running patron stuff and not just AFKing it in a background like I do, Fen, huge, gets it done so fast, folks. The only thing it doesn't change, I need to call this out, is when it's like you need to earn a certain number of event currency. That you just need to earn, and you want to anyway. So yeah, but all the rest of the stuff. Mucho progress. That's not how that works. Warlock Pact. Fen reduces the normal attack speed of all warlocks in the formation by 0.1 seconds. For each point of wisdom an adjacent champion has above 10. Above 10. Remember, folks. Voronika. 23 wisdom. 23 wisdom. So you wanna really reduce attack speed stuff? Well, with the right formation, Fen'll do you. As long as the DP, the people that it's only for warlocks though. Now why only for warlocks? Oh, I don't know. Maybe because Nahara's a warlock. Maybe because they're also a warlock. It's almost like they built this as a group. You know, it's like they designed these to work together. All right, we have 2 specialization choices, Shadows of the Underdark and Curse of the Dampier. I'm going to make this easy for you, folks. Shadows of the Underdark is the support spec. Curse of the Dampier is the DPS spec. So based off what you're using her for, you pick one or the other. Shadows of the Underdark, Fen imbues her blade with Eldritch Energy, increasing the effect of Mischievous but Dangerous by a large amount, and causing her normal attacks to deal an additional 5 seconds of Bud-based damage with each hit. So not only does this as the support spec increase the bonus she's giving to the DPS, it also makes her a secondary DPS, because every time she hits something, she's going to do Bud-based damage over time. This is fantastic for destroying segmented health bosses. Hit-based ones straight up, but armored ones, as long as your Bud is higher than the armor threshold. Chunk right through them. Curse of the Dampier. Fen embraces her Dampier heritage and increases her damage by a large amount. So again, this is just her own damage. So we're using her as support here. We're going to go Shadows in the Underdark. And Finn, if you want to know how much attack speed reduction you're getting, this sword icon over Finn with the number is telling you, like, she's currently reducing 1.2 seconds. So pretty straightforward to figure out how much of a bonus you're getting from Warlock Pact. I've got you, friends. Finn increases the effect of Mischievous but Dangerous by 100% for each champion in the formation that is either a Black Dice Society affiliation member. It's almost like they're built to work together. Or has wisdom of 15 plus. So super high wisdom folks or Black Dice Society members, multiplicative stacking bonuses. Again, running this group together, they synergize well. It's not always true of affiliations, but this one that works really well together. Form of Dread is her ultimate. Finn transforms into her Dread form. She sprouts wings, leaps into the air, and charges directly across the area, dealing 1 hit of ultimate damage to all enemies she passes and knocking them back a short distance. So this is screen-wide damage. 1 hit. There she goes. Boom, and she's back. It's real quick. Real quick. But that's what it looks like. That's what it looks like. All right. That was everything. I'm pretty sure that was everything. Items. We get a self-damage item and we get a damage all champions item because she is DPS and support. Mischievous but dangerous item. I've got you, friends item. So that's boosting the synergy with Black Dice Society or Wisdom 15 plus. Increases the effect of all of her specializations. Super interesting. So you're either buffing, you don't have to pick one or the other. You're buffing whatever spec choice you pick. Yeah. Nice. I don't know what else to say about that. It's great. And then ultimate cooldown reduction. Feat-wise, damage all champions, self-damage, mischievous but dangerous. I've got you, friends. Specializations. We boost the specialization bonuses. And then, of course, the big one. The patron challenge thing and by another 200%. This is whenever people are like, hey, Gaarawarr, what 50,000 gem feats are worth purchasing? Well, I now have one that's at the top of my list for you. The only one on the list currently, probably at the moment. Yeah. Quadruple progress patron challenge feat. Enjoy. All right, next up, Tatiana, but first, root beer. If you can't tell already, If you can't tell already, Tatiana's the tank. I should probably put Tatiana, take her out of her gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling skin. There we go, there's Tatiana. Tatiana is an Air Genasi Barbarian Druid, chaotic neutral, tanking support, and speed. Folks, the speed thing. Is it, though? We'll get to that. Twin Kukri Strike is her base attack. She strikes at the closest enemy with 2 Kukri Strikes. Faithful Friend is the first ability. A random slot from the middle columns of the formation is chosen. Tatyana increases damage of the champion in that slot by an amount. That's the blue light, folks. That's the blue light special. That's the blue. You thought that was a Kmart thing. It's a Tatyana thing. That's the blue light. So she chooses one of the slots. There's no way to move that. Just going to tell you. Once it's chosen, that's where it is. There's ways you can affect it, like we've spread it with Valentine. But when we get to her specializations, you can alter it with specializations too. So again, she's not someone that really works very well in an automated formation type of situation because the blue slot's going to move around all the time. Loyal Protector, this is the health share feature, 25% like most other tanks. Rising Fury, each time Tatyana is attacked, she gains 1 Fury stack. The effect of Faithful Friend is increased by 1% for each Fury stack, stacking additively. She loses 10% of her Fury stacks every 15 seconds that she is not attacked. So this is the basically the more she is having to tank things, the more she's going to boost the party. It's the way you want things to work, because as you're not able to kill instantly, basically they're providing a bigger bonus, so that you can kill things. And Faithful Friend is just a straight up bonus to that blue slot. Find a feast. This is the speed effect, and I put it in quotations because I'm going to explain why that's maybe not what it is. If Tatyana is not attacked for 15 seconds, there it is, and the players are in a non-boss area with no barriers, so none of those like dead logs or torches on the walls, those kinds of things, she briefly runs ahead off the right side of the screen. She returns 2 seconds later from the right side with more enemies, that number can vary, that spawn simultaneously. After she returns, the 15-second counter starts again from 0 seconds. We're gonna watch this for a moment, folks. We're gonna pause here. I just want to point out, there she goes. I already met my goals. Now she's running off the screen. Comes back with a wall of enemies, right? This is why, arguably, this isn't really the kind of speed effect you're really looking for in most cases. Because in most cases, you're done with the level before she runs off to get more enemies. Now, as you get closer to your wall, if what you need is lots of enemies from the ramping bonus she has to be able to clear the level, it does become a speed effect. So she is not an early run speed champion. She's a late run speed champion. So as you stop killing things and you need more enemies on the screen to buff your party, that's when her speed effect actually kicks in. Otherwise, you're waiting way too long. Wait 15 seconds, well, 17 seconds to get them onto the screen is way too long for a speed effect. Okay. So it's not a gem farming thing. It's kind of a late run thing, or if you're farming kills, I don't even know then. Rage. She's a barbarian. She's got rage. When Tatyana reaches 50 plus fury stacks, and for every 15 seconds she's above 50 plus fury stacks, she gets a rage stack. Up to 6. With at least one rage stack, she rages and her base attack changes. We'll probably be able to see this later, maybe. We can manipulate it. And for each rage stack, Faithful Friend gets a 400% bonus, stacking multiplicatively. If she goes below 50, she loses all rage stacks. So we would have to take everybody, and we can take everybody out here. We really just need to take probably the DPS out. Oh god, what did I do? Oh, I took Nahara out, and that removed everybody. Hey, folks, in case you're wondering what happens if you take out the champion that everyone else relies on to be in the formation, that's what happens. That's what happens. Oh, God. Who did... Fen. Okay. Yeah, that was real smart of me, wasn't it? Wasn't it? Oh, I'm killing with familiars, too. Let's see if we can build up and get her rage going here, folks. It may or may not happen. No, we're not going to be able to do this right away. Yeah, it's one of those things. It's just going to have to... you got to see it to believe it, but you're not going to be able to see it right now. But you're not going to be able to see it right now, folks. She does change forms. You can tell when this goes off. You just have to trust me on that. You have to trust me on that one. The specializations, this alters where the blue dot goes, or not where it goes, what it does. Like kind of, it spreads it in a way with a couple of them. Tatyana's Faithful, your friends are my friends. Tatyana's Faithful Friend now affects all champions in slots adjacent to the Faithful Friend slot, and the effect is increased by 100%. So if I were to put, if I weren't to put Valentine here, if I were to put somebody else here, the blue dot would be right here. Now, if I choose that left specialization, it also spreads to all of the slots around that. So it's a great, it basically puts it in, up to 6 slots around, around that one blue spot, right? The middle specialization, by my side, Tatyana's Faithful Friend now affects all champions in the column containing the Faithful Friend slot, and the effect is increased by 200%. The first one doubles it, this one triples it. So that would then just put it in this column, right? These are ways that you can look. Where did it go? I want it in a different place because my formation doesn't build right that way. You alter with these. If it's in the right spot, best friend forever. Tatyana's faithful friend continues to only affect one slot, but the effect is increased by 400%. We're going to go with that one. That's the biggest one, and since we're using Valentine, we can spread that effect. You know, your methods may vary depending on what you're doing. I'm still doing the ultimate thing. How close are we to searching for the crown? Well, we're 2 ultimates away. We're 2 ultimates away. All right, now we're 1 ultimate away. We're going to talk about this real quick. I'm going to move Voronika right here so we can change her form. I did say we were going to come back. So Voronika is going to take on her Dark Lord form now. Remember, her base attack, Produce Flame, 9.25 second cooldown. Fires at a random enemy. She has no ultimate attack right now. Yeah. Ready? Ready? Here we go. Boom. So now she's taken on a new form. You can see. She doesn't look so ghostly anymore. Now she's in her Dark Lord form. She is still dead. She has a crown icon over her. She now has an ultimate attack. It's right here. Horrifying Visage. Voronika moves in front of the party, magically damaging and pushing back all enemies. Any surviving enemies do reduced damage for 30 seconds. So this is a knockback. It's damage, knockback, and damage reduction. So here we go. Boom. Yep, that's horrifying. And now for 30 seconds, they do reduce damage. Okay. Her base attack now, Produce Flame Dark Lord, still a long cooldown. But Voronika attacks a random enemy. The target is lit on fire and takes damage for 5 seconds. Again, great for chewing through hit-based enemies. So, Black Dice Society as a team, very good with segmented health stuff. Gee, I wonder why that is. Strahd, maybe? Strahd's a segmented health boss. So, they kind of work together to beat the crap out of Strahd, folks. Okay. Yeah, we will leave. We can leave her right there. Best friend forever. Yeah, that was everything. Okay, ultimate. Entangle. Oh, I used it already. Oops. A stripe of entangling roots appears to the right of the front column, dealing damage to all enemies inside it and all enemies that enter it during its duration. Enemies standing in the roots deal 50% less damage. The roots last for 30 seconds. When this comes back up again, we'll use it. But basically, you're going to get damage in that stripe or strip, however you want to refer to it. And anyone standing in it does 50% less damage. And it's a 30-second feature. 30-second feature. Items. Damage of all champions items. A health item, because tank. Faithful Friend boost. Rising Fury boost. And increased the number of enemies spawned by Find a Feast. Which was an interesting choice. This can get things... I've heard of people whose the maximum number of enemies you can have on a screen at any point in time is 100, folks. 101 if you count a stationary boss. I've heard people get this out. Some people out there have gotten this up to 100, so it spawns just the maximum number of enemies. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. And then ultimate attack damage. Feat-wise, damage all champions. Health, because tank. We also get Overwhelm, because tank. We get Faithful Friend, Rising Fury. Again, increase the number of enemies spawned by Find a Feast. Yeah. There's a Charisma 2 that qualifies for Zariel. A lot of these champions qualify for Zariel. They all can get brought into Strahd, but a lot of them qualify for Zariel as well, so you can use these combinations in multiple patron challenges. Brother Uriah. Oh, now we can, remember, we were forgetting the Fool. We can now remove, Neris. We don't need Neris anymore, because they did their job. They turned Voronika into a Dark Lord. That's all we cared about. telling you. 7 champions. Too much for my voice to handle. All right. Brother Uriah is the most recent and final member of the Black Dice Society. Human cleric. Lawful good. Healing and support. Toll the Dead is the base attack. It's magical. Uriah points at a random enemy and deals damage, preferring enemies that are already damaged. That's unique. Doomed and Darkon, basic ability. Brother Uriah increases the damage of all champions in his column and the column behind him by 1%. So we've placed Brother Uriah in the middle. That's going to be affecting Valentine. Valentine's going to give that to Nahara. So we're good. Azra's Embrace. Brother Uriah heals all champions within 2 slots for an amount of health per second. This will change. This effect is increased by 25% for each formation slot containing a dead champion or an escort. In this case, though, it stacks additively. So you're not going to get the same kind of amazing bonuses that Desmond provides, which is too bad, because then we might have finally had a useful healer in the game. But it is going to boost it. So once again, Brother Uriah likes to be in formations with escorts and dead people, just like Desmond does. In the grip of Azalin Rex. After 100 normal attacks by champions in the formation. So right away we know if you have a high attack speed formation, this is going to happen a lot. Azalin Rex takes over Brother Uriah for an amount of time. I might have a feed in here. Yeah, that's affecting that. For an amount of time. While controlled by Azalin Rex, Brother Uriah increases the damage of Nahara and all evil champions by 1%. This tells us that Brother Uriah really exists to support either Nahara specifically or evil DPS. Evil DPS. That's it. If your DPS is neutral or good, Brother Uriah is not the support champion for you. Not the support champion for you. Okay. Oh, I finally figured out why it does the parentheses. If you're wondering why his name keeps changing from Brother Uriah to Brother Uriah, it's because when it's in quotes, he's Azalin Rex. Okay. God, that's annoying. There's some other way to do that. Specialization choices, Book of Exalted Deeds or Book of Vile Darkness. So, in Exalted Deeds spec, undead and fiends become favored foes to Brother Uriah. And all champions deal an additional amount of damage to them. And it's a large amount. So if you're using Brother Uriah with anyone that has a favored foe mechanic, or you have favored foes, this may be a thing you want to do if you're facing off against undead and fiends. Book of Vile Darkness increases the effect of the grip of Azalin Rex by an amount. If you're facing off against fiends and lots of fiends and undead, Book of Exalted Deeds may be the way to go. It's a large boost. If you just want to boost, if you're not, then you go Grip of Azalin Rex to give a boost to your DPS. I don't know. I mean, we might be. I'm just going to go with the Azalin Rex one. All right. Blade Barrier is the ultimate. Yeah, that's everything. Okay, let's talk about Blade Barrier. Oh, here's the entangle from Tatyana. Boom. It's right there in front of the formation. So it's best used when you have lots of enemies built up against the front line. Keep in mind, not going to do a thing against any stationary or ranged enemies. That's just not the way it works. And Blade Barrier, Brother Uriah creates a wall of whirling, razor-sharp blades of magical energy and sends them flying across the area. The blades come to a stop a short distance in front of the formation, forming a barrier that lasts for 10 seconds. Each time an enemy passes through the barrier, they take ultimate damage. Here it goes. Boom. So this is right where enemies start to take damage. So just know... Oh, we're just going to run a bunch of people through that wall. Look at that! And they're all dead. Yeah. Just know it's going to sit there. It goes out once, and then it's going to sit there. And that might be behind ranged enemies and some stationary bosses. Just depends on where they place the stationary boss, okay? Item-wise, damage all champions doomed in Darkon. Ezra's Embrace, that's the healing one. In the grip of Aslan Rex. Then just straight up boost the specializations. So we've seen that before with this group, and they did it again. And here we go. This is the ultimate attack cooldown. Feat-wise, damage all champions. Doomed in Darkon. Then we have Ezra's Embrace. This is a healing one. It should have a plus there. It doesn't. But then we go effective grip of Aslan Rex. But then there's feats that affect the duration of In the Grip of Aslan Rex. There's a 50% and 100%. This is a good time to let you know that any kind of feat that is a percent multiplies against other feats of its same kind that are a percent. So, Brother Uriah's In the Grip of Aslan Rex normally starts out at 20 seconds base. I have a 50% feat in. That brings it to 30 seconds. If I add the 100% feat in, that's going to bring it to a minute, which would keep that up for a minute, which most likely is long enough for it to trigger again, right? The idea here is either you're building lots of attack speed or you're increasing the duration, or some combination of both, so In the Grip of Aslan Rex is up as much as possible. That's what you're doing, Brother Uriah. All right, folks, we are finally through all 7 champions. We do have about a half a dozen questions. We got about 45 minutes left. We're going to take a short musical interlude. This is Happy Valentine's Day from Bardic Inspiration. Enjoy.
Life of the party, torn from the grave. She never follows, she won't behave. Tentacles and pearls, she'll tear apart your world. Silvers of the mind, head of mine is frail. Princess fortune plain. Fear is her domain. She's a nightmare, drowning pain.
I like that song. That's a good song. All right, folks, we are back. We're going to dive into the Q&A portion of the show. There's only 7 questions over here, so if you have a question, it doesn't have to be about Black Dice Society. It can be about any of the game mechanics or champions and that kind of stuff. Toss it into chat with question, first, so that Jordan knows to grab it and throw it in the document. Excuse me. Lurking Rider, what's your opinion on how the Black Dice Society operate as a group? Do you think they synergize well or work better with their champions in the formation? I think they've built them out to work really well together. Obviously, there's only 7, so you're going to need to add 2 or 3 more to flesh things out. Also, you're going to need to decide, do you want to Nahara DPS or do you want to Fen DPS? They could both be functional DPS for you. Nahara's, doing some decent work here. So, it's just going to depend on where your focus is. I know some people have really enjoyed Fen DPS as well. Now, again, I did put Fen in her support spec, so I chose to boost Nahara. But if I were trying to compete, Fen might be beating out Nahara. So you kind of pick which kind of DPS you want to go with, and then go from there. And obviously, you want to pick other champions, other supporting champions to go with this group. Ideally, they're going to produce positional formation abilities to feed to Valentine. Right. And if you're in a situation where there aren't escorts, like we have here, you might want to choose dead champions. What other dead champions work with this situation for both Desmond and Brother Uriah? Spurt, when you use his ultimate. Blushi, once you kill her off. These are options for you to go with. Webb Sterling, does Tatyana count as a lycanthrope? I don't know, honestly. And I don't believe it matters because she's not a DPS. So when you're talking about buffing the damage of someone, we're talking about Desmond's ability that buffs the damage of lycanthropes. Even if it did buff the damage of Tatyana, even if she did count as a lycanthrope, it doesn't matter. She's not the DPS. She's a tank. Generally, you're trying to target that feature to a DPS champion. That's running with the pack here. So, I don't know. Because it hasn't really mattered to me to figure that out. This is because her rage, folks, when you see her rage effect, if we ever see her rage effect, she changes into this like hulking thing, like on all fours, and it's freaky. Webb Sterling, do Spurt or Voronika count as dead? Yeah, Voronika always counts as dead. Spurt counts as dead when he's been splatted. Blushi counts as dead when she's been turned into her spirit form. So Blushi has health, lives, then you kill her, but then she's there in her spirit form, which is her tanking form. Then she gives off all of her boosts and counts as dead. Wicked One, should Finn's mischievous column effect reflect back to her with Valentine a recipient of that boost? She already has it. Doesn't seem to do so, though. It does go to other DPS. I'm wondering if that's designer, but she already has it. Because she's in the column. It increases the damage of all champions in her column. She's a champion in her column. So she gets it. So what she would get from Valentine would be the boosted form of it. So it's what? It's an 233 E13. So if I come over here, mischievous but dangerous, she should... it's not showing up. She should be getting the boosted version of it from... 695 E12, but we're getting 233 E13. So we're getting a boosted version of it for some reason. I don't know. I would submit... this is the first time I looked at this. I would probably submit a ticket because it really should be showing up down here under incoming effects because it's being boosted by Valentine. I don't know. This is one of the reasons I don't necessarily mess with a lot of the champions that function off of positional formation abilities like Valentine and Artemis and stuff, because it's so hard to know. Like, it's very unclear. Are they getting it? Who's getting what? Is it showing up correctly? What is a positional formation ability? They're problematics. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if it does. I think one of those is backwards. It feels like Theodra, because it says the E12 in the back, but E13 up front. It's. This is why. This is why. How long is the duration, Connellan? How long is the duration of Aslan Rex with both feats equipped in Narak in? I went and bought the other Aslan Rex feat during the break just to find this out. So I have the 100% and the other one. So if you want to see, that does mean that it is lasting for 60 seconds. If I put in Narak, Brother Uriah's Wisdom 22, another high wisdom champion in Black Dice Society. So does qualify for Narak. Narak's going to boost at max like 379%. It ends up being like 4 minutes and 40-something seconds if you put Narak next to him. Which is overkill. That's overkill. So ultimately, if you are going to be using Narak instead of Tatyana, because Narak's in Tatyana's slot, with Brother Uriah, Narak and Brother Uriah together, there's really no need for the feats that increase the duration. Yeah, ultimately that's what's going to happen. That's what you need to know. Art from Canada. Do you think we'll get a season 3 or 4 with the Black Dice? So do I think they're going to show up in the season system? I mean, maybe at some point. I can't talk about the season 3 and 4 because I might know who those are. And I'm not allowed to talk about it. So, but do I think that they might show up in the season system at some point? Sure. Do I know, am I going to, if I knew when, would I be able to say no? But the thing is I think I think everyone, but maybe everyone's in a pretty good place except maybe Nahara. Nahara, I feel like could do a little more damage, but then again, I could also grind more levels with her and that would give her more damage. But yeah, I think they're in a good place. I don't know that there's any major problems with the Black Dice Society. So I think there are other groups that would deserve to end up in the season system first. For those folks who are new, the season system is down here. We're in season 2 right now. It's a new system. And there's 5 champions chosen per season. Lately, they've been, for the first 2, they've been all affiliated with each other. And they get reworks during the seasons. Yeah. All right, I'm going to go on to generic questions. I guess that was all the Black Dice Society questions. Seawolf, what is TOT, Total Ability Score? I have no idea. I mean, I can tell you literally what it is. It's literally they add up all 6 of these stats and they give you a total. I don't know what they're doing with this. I have no idea. I've heard some people say, oh, well, like some potential things they might be doing with it. Like I've heard people in the community go, well, maybe they'll have a champion that buffs based off the total ability score of a party or something. Maybe. But I don't know. They haven't told us. It literally just appeared in the changelog. I guess it didn't appear in the changelog in game. It appeared in the changelog in the Discord. They didn't put it in the game. Jorgen Mandrangus, what's the best POS 1 right now? Are we talking like bench slot 1? Is that what we're talking about? I'm going to go with that because I don't know what else that might have meant. If that's not it, let me know in chat. For what I do, for the way I play the game, Orkira is the best bench slot one. Orkira just has the ability to both heal and buff, and you can stack her buffs. Like you can do what's called Orkira stacking and get her debuff. She applies a debuff. Get her debuff super high, and that allows for lots of fun. And by fun, I mean pushing. Yeah, I would say for me, Orkira is currently the best in bench slot one. Lucinda, I'm newish to the game. Welcome. I've been reading your guide, but can you explain the Modron cores? I can. Or point me in the right direction of your guide where it is talked about. The guides for Modrons are video guides. They are on the link that got put in the chat by TG Nubis, the Gaar guides link. That's just all of my guides list. I do link to some of the video guides. They're up on the C&E Games YouTube. So if you go to YouTube and you search C&E Games, CNE for Codename Entertainment Games, you'll find that got just linked in chat. You'll find the Gaarawarr's Guide, the tutorial show. I've done multiple tutorial shows over Modrons. I haven't written those out just yet. Wish I knew a bunch of the information in your guide closer to when I started. I regularly just finish things when complete. Yeah, but that's fine. Like everybody, you play the game however you play it, and then as you learn more effective ways to play, you adjust. It's all good. So can I talk about Modron cores? Sure. Modron cores are you unlock Modron cores by doing an adventure called Split the Party. It gives you a Modron core and your first background formation, which is this one right here. Modron cores, Split the Party is accessed by getting 2 champions in every bench slot. So you need a minimum of 24 champions to unlock Split the Party, but there have to be a 2 in each bench slot. That's usually one of the goals we talk about when trying to select champions from time gates, is making sure you have a second champion in every bench slot. That's why. So you get your Modron core first. So your Modron cores get slotted into a party. Your first one is the Modest core. It looks like this, but without all these pipes. It would look like this. And the only thing that would be unlocked would be a small section right here. And then it would say level 2, level 3, level 4, all the way up to level 15 and over blocked tiles. Because to access more space, you have to level the core up. Level 15 is the max core. You level the core up by just having it slotted into a party and doing adventures with that party. So when you're actively leveling a core, you want it in your active party, not in a background party. Because background parties level slowly, active parties level much faster, especially if you have speed champions in. So you level up your core, and as you go, you add pipes to it to hook up these nodes, and these nodes provide boosts. So this one is a gold find boost. This one over here is a damage of all champions boost. Your flow starts at 1, and a function of the pipes and the type of pipes and the bonuses and the way you put them together increases the flow. It multiplies the flow so that you can get higher level flow. Like flow greater than 4 would give you the maximum boost from this node. Flow greater than 4 gives you maybe the maximum boost from this node? No, it is the maximum listed boost, but then there's a thing called supercharging. Supercharging is the more advanced version. When you're first building out your core, your first goal is to don't worry about the supercharging portion. Just try to get everything to the 4th level, flow greater than 4. Your flow is going to look purple. We call it epic flow. You're going to get the highest listed value there. Because that's going to be a challenge enough just when you're starting off, just to get above 4 flow everywhere. Now, supercharging kicks in when you can build to 1,000 or more flow. That's a lot of flow. That takes a lot of really, really good pipes, like the perfect choice in pipes. You're usually dealing with full epics at that point, like these down here, with the biggest bonuses and the most shapes available. And combining them in near perfect ways to get to the max. And then the high, and that's just 1,000 flow. The flow goes up and up and up, and caps out at a super high flow, which I'll show you in a moment. Each of the pipes there's different rarities of pipes. So you have common that are just directions. There's 6 basic directions. Uncommon that have both directions with bonuses, but also directed flow. These arrows mean that the flow is going to go from right to left. Here it's going to go up to down. So if I put this flow, an up to the down to up flow, in a pipe that's pushing flow down, nothing happens, right? Because if you want to think about it, it's like it's got a little motor in there that's going to push the flow in that direction. Well, it doesn't work if it's the wrong directional arrows. Directional arrows matter because the directional arrows will allow you to do, shenanigans. They'll allow you to move flow in different directions and merge it and meld it in good ways. As you go up, again, you get more directions. Like we had the 6 basic directions here, but then we introduced a T, but just undirected flow. And then with blue, we introduced directed T's, but then we also introduce X's or quads. It's an undirected X. And then with epic, we get all the shapes with all the directions and directed epics, right? Directed quads. So if I go from a normal thing, I'm going to load in my, I should talk about this. Hold on. If you just want automation is Modrons enable, part of the automation system. Familiars are the other automation. So familiars buy champions and level them up, but, Modrons allow you to choose a reset level, and reload a formation, and load in potions automatically. So they are part of the automation component. This is, you just have to hook up the node that looks like this with the gears. You don't have to have the flow come out of it. You just need flow going into it. But this is what supercharged looks like. So we start out, you build these things called buff boxes. Whereas you can see we have lots of directed flow, but it splits, and it recombines. And when it does, you'll see the numbers get real big, 200%, 333%, 100%. That's bigger than what they were listed because it gets a multiplier based off the number of flow pipes going into it. This is normally a 10% multiplier. But when you have 3 flows going into it, it becomes a 333.3% multiplier. This is how we get large flow. You can see purple is the epic. So down here I have greater than 4 flow. It's at 11.23. Yoo-hoo! Okay. But orange means it's supercharged. So orange, down here I have 7,200% bonus damage because my flow is at 8.65 EO6, right? And if I get up here where these red nodes are, this means I am maxed out for my damage bonuses. I now have a damage all champions buff at 9,600%. That started at 1,600%. So we get major multipliers when you can supercharge, but the bonus caps at 500%. So I'm at an EO9 flow here. And up here, do we have one? I don't think we do. I was going to say, some of them I had at E10, which was a little overkill. And then the joke we had in chat was E10 flow. Wasn't that a Pearl Jam song? There we go. E10 flow. So, you need to get into the E8 range to get the 500% bonus usually. So everywhere that you see this red, these are maxed out modifiers. They obviously aren't everywhere. I would like to get these orange ones maxed out, but I've got to either it's not possible or I have to change how I pipe my flow at the beginning. But I'm happy with this. I'm happy with this because if I hover over this starter node, it tells me all of my bonuses. Right now, folks, I have an increase the damage of all champions bonus of E30 from this core. That's fantastic. That's just on its own. That's just fantastic. I'm happy with that. All of the stat-based bonuses are in the EO4 range, except for one, except for Constitution, because that's the starter one. Stupid Constitution bonus. So yeah, I mean, you can get your Modrons up to really strong power, and this is part of what allows you to push super deep in this game. So when you see people who are like, I'm pushing over 1,000, it takes a well-built Modron core. That's one of the things it takes. One of the things it takes. Yeah. That's kind of a mini introduction to Modrons. The video guide should do more. At some point, I'll probably have a written guide, but there are some written guides out in the community. Other people make guides too. All right. Dark of Dynamite. Who should I get in seat 3 after having Nahara and Grama? Okay, so you already have Nayeli, Nahara, and Grama. Grama is fantastic. Nahara is going to help you with Black Dice Society. There's going to be... I already know there are people who are just going to scream Artemis. Artemis is one of 2 champions in the game that have an item that is mathematically broken. It's their flute. Right off the bat, though, here's the thing. Artemis, as a basic champion without a bunch of item levels, even in full epic gear, even like this, even with 700 item levels, they're an average DPS. They're an average DPS. But if you put, a couple thousand item levels, average item levels into Artemis, they become the item gets broken if you build your formation correctly and build out all the support champions correctly. They become super, super strong DPS. It feels more of like an end game thing if you decide that you just want to go all in on Artemis. I don't recommend it early on. He's not going to help you at all early on. He's like really subpar as a DPS early on. Spurt can be dead. So if you have Desmond and you want to go for the dead bonuses, Desmond Voronika, like if you're not going to use Nahara with Black Dice Society, you can use Spurt as a support for like Fen DPS in Black Dice Society. Spurt is a fun support in general that way. Omen and Mehen are like dueling gold find champions for Azaka farming. One's better than the other, but it depends on the formation layout. Yeah, so you could go either way here for gold find bonus for Azaka, just so that you have somebody in that slot to provide a gold find bonus for. That's kind of it. Briggs a good support. He's a solid support, but he's not amazing. Benwin's an okay DPS, but not amazing. Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of the slot 3 breakdown right now. Why does Krydel's evade stop Shandy's dash ability? I don't know. You'd have to ask the devs. I would think if he's not taking damage, it shouldn't stop it, but that's something you have to talk to the devs about. I have a feeling that the way the code works in the background is that if they're hit with an attack, even if they take no damage, that turns off Shandy's dash. That's probably what's going on, but you'd have to talk to the devs about that one. I suggest going to Developer Insights on Thursday afternoons, specifically speaking. That's where you'd ask that question. Or you could try tossing it into the Reddit Q&A that Trevor puts up every other week or something. And maybe he can get you an answer. I don't know. But I'm not a developer. I'm a community content creator. I've been making guides for the game for over for 5.5 years. It's basically since it came out. So I know a lot. But I don't know all of the behind the scenes stuff. Unless I've heard it answered on Developer Insights. And then I pass it on to you. Ainley Master, what's the best way for us noobs to start turning gear gold? Not shiny, but gold square, if that makes sense. Is it a manner of spanning blacksmith contracts? No, it's actually not related to that at all. So I think what you're talking about is, so this is going to be a little confusing. So this, if we're looking at the inner border, not the outer border, that's what we're talking about when we're talking about gilding, which is what the community refers to this as. Because the real world term for putting a precious metal onto an item is referred to as gilding, whether it's silver or gold. If you'll see the inner, I refer to this as like copper or bronze, because I think of it like coins in the Forgotten Realms. So copper, it's the brownish border, right? And then we see like shiny. So it says shiny level 150 at the top, and we see a silverish inner border. So this is this shiny gilding. This has nothing to do with item levels. Blacksmithing contracts provide item levels. It has nothing to do with item levels. It is gilding. So in an item slot, there are multiple different things that can like multiple different multipliers or effects in a slot. One is rarity of the item. Base rarity, so uncommon, common, rare, or epic. Those are the white, green, blue, or purple. The other thing is item levels. Item levels are multipliers for power. These are completely separate things. So you can have a white item level 100 item and then get the green upgrade, which is not going to happen, but then get the green upgrade, and now it's a green level 100 and something item. Right? These are separate things. Then we have the gilding, which is either there is none, or there is shiny, or there is golden. Shiny is a 50% modifier to the power of that item slot. Golden is 100%. And then we have the fourth effect, which is considered a rarity, but is separate. And that's legendary. That's the orange bonus you see around the outer border right now. Legendaries add a brand new effect to the item, but in fact, literally the item is both epic and legendary at the same time, which is not a way that the other rarity normally works. That's why it's kind of a separate type of rarity. So shiny comes from a random loot. Out of any chest that can drop gear, can give a random shiny for a champion if that chest drops gear for that champion. There's also things called potions of polish that can turn such an item shiny. Golden, as we see here, golden level 172. Very, very rarely you may see a potion of golden. There was one in the season as a season reward. Sometimes there's one in what I call meta events, which are like spring spectaculars, summer celebration, that kind of stuff. And occasionally, and for a few champions, you can buy a golden out of the patron shop. For like 4 of the evergreens, there are 2 goldens available for the patron shop. The rest of the goldens come from cash, like real world cash. They're going to come from the shop. Right here, you'll see there are things that you pick up, like from wild offers or out of packs where it lists a golden as a reward. Like a lot of the champion packs, when you do like chest packs, one of the things to encourage you to buy chests is they're going to give you one of the goldens. There was a golden in either, if it wasn't in this season, it was in last season. There was also a legendary. There was a legendary in this season, but there's been a golden. I believe it may have been. If it wasn't this season, it was last season. So golden isn't about item levels. It is a separate function, and tends to come from cash purchases. See, now I'm going to go over here and be like, was it? If it was lowered. Could have been last season. I could be remembering last season. They're iterating. Here's a potion of polish for shiny. Yeah, it looks like it was last season. Because I think up here is going to be the legendary in tier 10, right? Yeah. So last season, maybe there was a golden. They didn't put one in this season. Oh, well. There is a golden item right here, though, in tier 10. So it wasn't a pull golden potion. But you could get Cridles from the Shadows golden from tier 10. This is the unpaid track. So this is the free-to-play track, too. So whereas this is the paid. This was the season pass track, so. Yeah, so golden's a completely different thing. I will tell you, you don't need. It's nice, like, I mean, yeah, but when it comes to shinies and goldens, what matters is that you have item levels on those items too, because if you're multiplying low, like if you're multiplying an item level of 12, like something that has an item level 12 multiplier, even if it's an epic. And then you're getting 50% more power from that. It's not really a big boost. Even doubling the power with the golden, not a big boost. But when you get things that are very high level, like, this is where did I want to go? 5. Like Theodinorax, 36, 38. Well, a golden then matters. A golden then matters a lot. I have 3,000 item levels on that. It kind of matters. Or if I go to one of my... There we go. Here's a golden level 9,000 mini-notched axe. That's a big bonus. 9,000 item levels is a lot of item levels to then be doubling in power, right? So yeah, just keep that in mind. It's not necessary. It's more of a golden is like it's their rewards. The golden's like guild was really supposed to be a reward if you supported the game with cash. And that's mostly what it is. Whereas the shinies are just... you can get some of them from cash rewards, but you can also get lots. You can get a lot of them. You can get all your core and evergreen shinies just from opening regular chests, but then there's a variety of other ways you can get shinies from things. But those are all... Everything you can get off of that, you can just get from level... The power you can get just from straight-up blacksmithing contracts. So you can get the equivalent power by putting a lot more blacksmithing contracts on the same champion. So just keep that in mind. Did we ever see Tatyana change? Probably not. Here, let's see if we can get her to rage before we're done for the day. Probably not. No, we're just going to kill everything. We're just going to kill everything. Will that do it? Can we? Can't we? I don't think it's going to happen. Okay. Maybe we can... Oh. Dang it. I don't know. Eventually, you know, I leveled everybody up too high. We're just killing too many things. But eventually she does transform, I swear, folks. She does transform. I did not ask her if she would like to rage, but, you know, she's not Grog, so. Anything? No. How many? We got to give her over 50 stacks, too. Yeah, it's going to take a while. That's going to take a while. Question. Spending your seasonal tokens on tier 11 items, which to choose? My current recommendation is scales. 2,000 scales is, I mean, if you want to think about it in the lowest, like the most basic term, that's 4 legendary items at level 1. Obviously, this is going to depend on like your progress through the legendary system, but I think most players just having a legendary is better than not. So getting 4 of them for you know, buying 1 stack of those scales is a big deal. It's a more of a guaranteed power when you're at that point in the game than the random roll of the die from 2 Modron chests. Now you might want to buy some combination of legendary of the scales and the Modron chests if you're still trying to get more pipes. Okay, she's going to change. There she goes, folks. See? Now we've got her in this beast form. she has raged. It doesn't show it here, but there's her more primal raged form for you. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of going to depend on what you feel like you need at that point, but I bought like 10 of these packs already. I've got to burn a lot more currency, but I haven't decided if I'm buying all the stuff up here yet, so I've just been letting it build up. But yeah, and even if you have legendaries on all your items, like if you're at least legendary 1 on all your items, like I am, all my champions are now full legendary, just because I wanted to get it out of the way. This is still going to allow for you to upgrade them faster than getting scales once a week, right? You can get a lot of scales to stack up, and but at some point, you may be like, well, but I also want some of this. So on the season pass path, so the cash path, it's going to be these two. I tend to recommend this one. On the free to play path, you just want all of these that you can get. Bounty contracts and blacksmithing contracts are permanent power. You want that. All right. We are done for the day, folks. This is the last CNE stream of the weekend. CNE streams will return on Tuesday. However, I am also streaming later today in about an hour over on my channel, twitch.tv/Gaarawarr. It is Saturday, which means it's Final Fantasy Saturday. We're playing through Final Fantasy VI, the Pixel Remaster. Please come join us. Hang out. It's a lot of fun. I also stream a show called Idle Chatter on Mondays, where I play Idle Champions more actively than this, and answer questions. And we do all kinds of stuff, from hard patron challenges to that wild automated Briv gem farming tweaking that you've probably heard about if you've ever wanted to see somebody do that live on stream. I do that sometimes on Mondays. We do all kinds of things. We repipe Modron cores on Mondays. That supercharged Modest core that I showed off earlier, we did that last Monday. So stop by anytime, folks. Thanks. We're going out with Drop of Time. This is Strahd's song. Bye, everyone.
The heart, cage the doubt. I was blind to ever think that you could be the one for me. Now I see. Now I see. Take the light, drain the blood, seal the path. I will take your fate into my hands and fulfill my destiny. Soon you'll see. Soon you'll see. With the dying of the light, it will be my time to rise. I'll be waiting for you till the stars don't shine. In this misty shrouded land, on a tower I will stand. Eternity is just a drop of time. Cursed by love, cursed by you, bound to yearn for a heart untrue. I'm the darkness in your soul, I am the land beneath your feet. Come to me, come to me. With the dying of the light, it will be my time to rise. I'll be waiting for you till the stars don't shine. In this misty shrouded land, On a tower I will stand. Eternity is just a drop of time. Drop of time. Drop of time. As the walls within me roll down my soul. You've been mine. You've been mine. We will reign upon the dead and both feel whole. With the dying of the light, it will be my time to rise. I'll be waiting for you till the stars don't shine. In this misty shrouded land, on a tower I will stand. Eternity is just a drop of time. Drop of time.